This brings me to an observation. In the first place, because the VC and the startup industry is actually considered very, very risky. So that is why nobody was banking them. So there was a concentration of them with Silicon Valley Bank. So that is where this whole thing happened. Now, since Silicon Valley Bank is gone, the industry, the
Mm.
VC and the startup industry is again in this place where nobody would want to bank, or there are higher costs of banking with them. Do you really think the VC, tech, and crypto industry in particular will be debanked?
Yeah, so this is a good point. Obviously Silicon Valley Bank went down. There were some issues, but I do want to give them some credit as well. It wasn't just that they were the ones that were willing to do it. It was also that their clients liked them. They gave better services. So their services were more tailored. You know, their clients thought they understood them more than larger banks. So that I think is worth mentioning as well. But yeah, I actually, unfortunately, this answer is a little bit negative. I do think this is bad for innovation in the United States. Um, I don't think it's a good look that banks that were willing to take a little bit of a risk on new industries with crypto, on startups, in venture capital. I don't think it's a good look that the banks that went into it, strong, they went down. So unfortunately, other banks, you could even argue logically from a risk management perspective, they're probably not going to bank, as many of these industries as they would have otherwise. And if they do, maybe they're going to charge more or, give less good terms because they view them as more risky. So why would you give them such a good deal? So unfortunately, I think it will be a little bit of a hit. Um, Now, it would have been a lot worse if the news hadn't come out that the uninsured depositors would be made whole, because on the weekend, like I said, there was a lot of fear, and part of that was all these companies. Well, not all these companies. A lot of these companies had all their money with Silicon Valley Bank, and they were worried that they weren't going to be able to hit payroll. So on Friday, companies were coming out with how much money they had at Silicon Valley Bank, and we would see some stocks just falling with the announcement because there was the assumption that they would potentially lose that money. But yeah, a lot of companies had all their money with Silicon Valley Bank, in part because I said it was one of the few banks that these they felt like understood them.